Turning to the Biden administration, this morning, the Biden administration says it will negotiate, at least on the infrastructure bill. But this is complicated, even among Democrats, because different states have different priorities. The latest census showed more people are leaving high-tax states for low-tax states. And it's not just individuals. These same states are considered business unfriendly, and they're losing businesses and the taxes that go with them. And while lawmakers in those states are very excited about Biden's agenda, they're also worried about how we pay for it. They're urging the administration not to raise taxes on families and instead pay for his proposal by closing tax loopholes and going after all of those tax cheats who don't pay what they should, including the tax gap. That is the $1 trillion a year difference between taxes legally owed and taxes actually paid. I want to bring in two of those lawmakers, members of the newly formed SALT caucus, New Jersey Congressman Josh Gottheimer and New York Congressman Tom Suozzi. Congressman Gottheimer, explain the SALT caucus. Why should people care?
Well, there's 33 of us in states like mine and Tom's that unfortunately, after the 2017 tax hike bill hit us and they really capped out that SALT deduction to $10,000, on average here in Jersey, families of mine in this district, their taxes went up, not down. And I'm not just talking about the well-to-do. I'm talking about hardworking middle-class families. A cop and a teacher, Stephanie, would pay about $17,000 on average in total local and state taxes in Jersey. So their taxes actually went up. All we're fighting for here is making sure we get a tax relief by reinstating the state and local tax deduction, which is key. A third of people in New Jersey residents would get tax relief. And a huge swath of them are actually, 80% of them make less than $216,000, Stephanie. So this is critical to families here and their affordability.
Then to both of you, Congressman Suozzi first, if the president doesn't address this issue, are you willing to play ball on the infrastructure plan? He needs your votes.
Hey, the bottom line is we love the president's plan to do things big and bold and build back better and make the country better than it's ever been before. But no SALT, no deal. We have to negotiate on this SALT issue and get back this deduction. No
SALT, no deal. How about you, Congressman Gottheimer?
Yeah, I agree. No SALT, no deal. If you're going to actually hit our families here in Jersey and change the tax code, I've said no SALT, no dice, too. Tom and I working together on this. And the other big thing, Stephanie, that I think people don't realize, and something that Tom and I are very concerned about, when people leave our states, United Van Lines has Jersey as the #1 out-migration state for the last 3 years. When people who leave and take their tax revenue with them, it creates a huge erosion. And the result is it affects all those social programs and schools and other things that are so critical here in states like ours. And as you know, states like New Jersey and New York do a very good job of providing for hard-pressed families. And you look at Alabama, where they pay an average of $550 a year in property taxes. Those programs aren't there. We take care of folks in our state, but the key is actually keeping them here.
Congressman Suozzi, Democrats have a very thin margin in terms of the minority. You need every vote to maintain it. You've got multiple swing state Democrats retiring. How do you stand behind the president's agenda without losing crucial votes? You know, one of the problems we face, we live in a world of short-termism. And even though so many of the agenda items are crucial for the long-term improvement of this country, our education, our child care, our health care, the list goes on. But in the world of short-termism, people care about what they have to pay today. How do you balance the two?
You know, that's part of governing. That's part of public service. That's part of politics. We need to educate our colleagues about the importance of the SALT deduction. We need to educate people about the importance of infrastructure. We need to educate people about the importance of childcare. This is part of what the process of governing is about. And not everybody has a fully formed opinion on every single issue. We need to constantly be working to build coalitions. That's why the SALT caucus is so important. It's bipartisan. It's growing all the time. That's why we have 108 co-sponsors on our bill to restore SALT deduction. We constantly have to work at educating people, bringing people together, letting them know there are big differences. A person, family that makes $150,000 in New York or New Jersey is very different from a family making $150,000 in Oklahoma or in Arkansas or North Dakota. So we have to educate people about the differences in our country and how we can all come together to make things better.
But Josh, beyond SALT and your colleagues, talk to your voters. How do you convince your voters that these investments are better for the long-term prosperity of this country. It's hard to convince people of that, especially when it doesn't matter what political party you're with, they don't feel great about government.
Well, when it comes, Stephanie, as you know, they drive around here. We've got the eighth worst roads in the country in Jersey. You go on New Jersey Transit, it's #1 worst on time in the country and one of the most expensive. We need that tunnel between New York and New Jersey built because we need more trains in and out. We need to fix our bridges. And I hear that all the time from the people here that I represent, that they want us to fix things. They just want us to do it responsibly. And that's the key to it, right? They want to make sure that it doesn't cost them more. They're already feeling huge crush. They're worried about their jobs. So it's up to us to explain to them. That's why Democrats and Republicans are coming together around this issue to make things more affordable, but to make them better and to do so responsibly. And that's what we're fighting for right now. There's a lot of negotiation to go on between now and the end of this bill, Stephanie. We haven't even seen the legislative text yet. But I'll tell you, SALT is going to be our top priority here that we're fighting for as part of this legislation.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.